We're back to politics now as more Nigerians continue to react to the shift in the earlier scheduled dates for the 2015 general elections. Some senior Nigerian legal practitioners have waded into the matter, but with divergent views. So this time, the Professor of Law and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Professor Oyo State, says he's disappointed about the postponement and believes that the issue of integrity of the umpire has now been put to test by the action. In an exclusive interview with our political correspondent, Seun Okinbaloye, at his home in Lagos, Professor Sagir advises the Commission on ways to achieve best results in the polls despite the challenge of insecurity in the Northeast.
The result of that is that INEC loses its independence and becomes a body that buckles under the pressure of one side of the contenders, amongst the contenders who do not feel comfortable about the outcome of any election, particularly if held now. So that, for me, the issue of confidence kicks in immediately, and it makes me very uncomfortable. So the enthusiasm of the citizenry has been built up towards that 14th. Everybody was looking forward to it, going there, doing their duty, and then awaiting the result and accepting the outcome. Now all that is going to be flagging, will be reducing, because uncertainty will be thrown into it. Finally, and equally crucial, is that if the reason given is security, how on earth can they guarantee that security will be better 6 weeks from the 14th of February? There's no way they could guarantee that. If I were INEC, I would arrange to have secured venues so that, in fact, you may have to merge polling units. Have secured venues where fewer venues, we can be properly protected by security agencies so that people can vote there and then go back home.
Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Professor Oyo State. And we have more reactions, this time coming from outside our shores. Over in the UK, some believe that the postponement of the elections is a failure on the part of INEC, but for others, the action was meant to avert a huge security challenge. Our correspondent in London, Doris Ekenwa, tells us more.
Well, it was a busy week of campaigning in the UK, to say the least. Across the divide, groups went about mopping up support for their candidates, revealing how wide some networks run far beyond the shores of Nigeria.
We are urging Nigerians who are living abroad to call their family and friends and associates and colleagues and share with them their thoughts.
The APC, however, stepped things up a notch in a preemptive move on Saturday outside Downing Street, office of the UK Prime Minister David Cameron. They submitted a petition against moves to postpone the elections. Well, their fears would be later confirmed with the announcement that the elections have indeed been postponed in Nigeria, which the group has outrightly condemned.
We will take a very dim view of this, and that is why we are here, raising our voices to the international community.
Any attempt to change this election wouldn't mean well for the country at all.
We are concerned that the independence of INEC may be eroded by external factors.
We're here today fighting for Nigerians back home. We want all their votes to be counted.
Across town, a high-powered delegation of some PDP ministers from Nigeria engaged in a roundtable session with Nigerians in the UK, presenting reasons why the incumbent president deserves a second chance.
Let me declare on security issue. Good luck Jonathan did not create the insecurity system. He inherited it and is dealing with it.
As to the postponement of the elections, it is nothing personal, some say, but should be appreciated for the greater good.
INEC should be given the opportunity to make sure that every vote counts.
Whether the elections hold in February, March or April, as long as it is legitimately held, we are happy.
I would prefer an election to take place when the Electoral Commission are ready.
With this 6 weeks extension, a lot of people are going to be re-enfranchised.
For those that plan to travel to Nigeria to vote,
we've already got our ticket to come over and vote in Nigeria, and they moved the election election forward, which we are not really happy about it, and going to cost us more money and more time.
Well, analysts have also suggested that the postponement of Nigeria's elections reveals a precarious mix of possible political manipulation on the one hand, and on the other, germane factors such as insecurity and the possible disenfranchisement of many without permanent voters' cards. Doris Okenwa, reporting for Channels Television News, London.
And from Johannesburg, South Africa, our correspondent Betty Dibia reports that despite the shift in the election date, many Nigerians living in South Africa are gearing up to be part of the forthcoming elections in the country. For them, no matter the political divide, they all agree that elections must hold to strengthen Nigeria's political process.
Election postponement or not, the battle lines remain drawn on the campaign trail.
APC, ayi shuru don aji shugaban kasa, ayi shuru.
The story is no different for party faithful in South Africa. It's a call for a vote for continuity versus that for change.
PDP is the only veritable party that will offer Nigeria the sustainable development.
The APC has the will to effect good governance in Nigeria.
A series of vibrant rallies are being held by the major parties. The APC members took theirs to the Nigerian High Commission in Pretoria, complete with a list of requests, including a no to election postponement, to which INEC has now voted yes.
INEC must be supported to overcome all challenges on the conduct of the elections and ensure successful distribution of the permanent voters' card.
The government of Nigeria, and even Nigeria as an entity, is committed to peaceful, credible, fair election.
In all of these, what do Nigerians really want?
We don't have electricity, we don't have water, we don't have many things there. They need to fix things there so that Nigeria will be okay.
For some Nigerians, they're dying out of the country for no just reason. For flimsy things, for things that are not really, for some minute things in question that could be tagged a very big name. I believe the government should help us in that aspect.
Nia Bodedele is the publisher of the Nigerian community newspaper in South Africa. He says feelings are visibly mixed ahead of the polls.
But I think one thing that stands out that everybody, that most Nigerians in South Africa are against, is the issue of corruption and impunity in the Nigerian system. I think as Nigerians, we need to be very honest to ourselves. We need to be very factual. Nigerians are in diaspora not because a lot of us wants to be abroad, but because of the system in our country. And if we've lived outside the country for a very long time and we've seen how development is like and how what it is to live in a developed society, then I think it will be right for us to say this is the time for us to get it right.
Many of these people we have spoken to seem quite eager to go back to Nigeria to vote, and they say they will. Probably with the postponement, many more people will be able to collect their PVCs. Those who cannot still hope that the diaspora vote will see the light of day very soon. But quite high on the agenda or expectations of many of the people is that whoever wins, especially the presidential election, will do much more in leading efforts to improve regard and respect for the Nigerian passport and all who bear it. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
The People's Democratic Party's governorship campaign has moved to Kaba in Kogi State, where the governor, Captain Idris Wada, urged indigents to vote in the party's candidates at all levels. The governor also said he's satisfied with the quality of candidates representing the PDP in the West Senatorial District in the forthcoming elections.
The Kaba Township Stadium in Kogi State is filled to capacity, a clear message of support for the People's Democratic Party candidates vying for various positions in government. Governor Idris Wada's arrival kickstarts the rally, which births at the Western Senatorial District of the state. One after the other, party chieftains, including the wife of the governor, speak to the crowd, registering their thoughts about the PDP government.
Nigerian women are very happy. We are very happy the way we are today. We have empowerment. We have 35% affirmation.
Governor Wada's comments are mostly geared towards the voting in of all the party's candidates, including the president, Goodluck Jonathan.
PDP is a great party, and the leadership of President Goodluck Jonathan is high-quality leadership that is transforming our country. Our country is on a path of transformation. With 4 more years for President Goodluck Jonathan, Nigeria will be on a higher pedestal where we can proudly compete with any other country in the world.
Though the general election has been postponed by the INEC, there seems to be more energy to further drive campaigns to the nook and crannies of the country from the PDP camp.
Meanwhile, Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosun has promised to sustain the existing security in Ijebu-Ode local government area and Ogun State in general. His comments were made during his campaign tour of the local government area as part of his re-election bid. The governor visited eligible voters in all the wards in the local government and the paramount ruler of Ijebu land, Oba Sagir Adetono.
Voters in Ijebu-Ode local government area showing support for the second-term bid of Senator Ibikunle Amosun as they host his campaign train. It then moves to the palace of the Awujale and the paramount ruler of Ijebu land, Oba Sagir Adetono. Here, the governor reassures the Oba of his commitment to the development and security of the local government area and the state in general. He then seeks royal support for his second term.
All the things that should come to Ijebu will come, and we do it. We will not do it well, very well. We will not have 5 cardinal rulers. Of course, Ijebu is a very, very significant aspect and part of us in the state.
He breaks off his campaign train to join Muslim faithful to observe the Jumat service at the Ijebu-Ode Central Mosque. Here, he tells worshippers to ensure they obtain their permanent voter cards and exercise their franchise at the polls. For the people, the only show of support for a man who has done so well the first time is to give him more encouragement.
During the first time, the governor has actually done quite a number of infrastructure in the urban areas. So, of course, he will be moving into the rural areas. And, of course, once that starts, agriculture is the next thing, because once you have the roads, it would give a boost to agriculture. And, of course, a lot of jobs will be created in the process.
You could see his sincerity, his passion, his total commitment to that. And let me tell you, this is the first time a governor in this country will visit all the wards. There are 236 wards in Ogun State, and in the last 3 weeks, he's been visiting each ward. So it shows that he's getting to his people. He wants to meet his people, and he's assuring them that by the time he finishes his second term, it will be made a force of reference.
Going by the warm reception Governor Musa receives at the places he visits, he will be going to the polls with some amount of confidence when the elections begin.